Okay, I am going to attempt to make the spirals they're paper spirals hanging down inside of 2 glass vases. I'm going to attempt to get them to move using the energy from my hands. Right now they're not moving. I'm very carefully sitting down so not to disturb them. And what I'm doing is I'm focusing on a dot on the paper spiral, looking for movement. I'm not working hard at this. I'm not trying. I'm not efforting. I'm just letting. I'm just watching and observing and looking for movement. And right now I already see movement. If you can catch this in the camera, what you're looking at is try to focus on one dot if you can, or look at the tail and see if you can't see it actually move. It's easier for me to see it right here, but and the camera is harder to pick it up with, but right now it's moving in a counterclockwise direction. I'm sorry, that was a clockwise direction. Now it's in a counterclockwise direction. So I'm not doing anything but observing, really, in a way. I am looking for movement. Right now it's moving significantly. This, I just put together or actually yesterday. It's a tall glass vase, and using a silk thread, which I separated from thread. When you buy thread, it's basically spun or wound, and you unwind and pull out one thread, and then you cut the spiral out of just a piece of paper that in fact I just colored the dots on the piece of paper and then cut it into this, and hung it from the one piece of thread from the top of the vase. Actually, technically the bottom of the vase, and then it's upside down. There's no air movement. It's flat on the surface of this table, and there's no air movement underneath. And it's definitely moving right now. Right now it's going in a clockwise direction. So what I'm doing is resting my arms so I don't get tired, resting them on my knees, and I'm not touching the glass. Trying not to touch the glass, and I try not to touch the table. So it's going in that's a counterclockwise direction. I've actually been able to get this to move by just focusing on it as well. Actually, I did that this morning. I came down this morning and it was completely still, and I sat down and I immediately got it to move. And so I pulled my hands away and gave it a chance to completely go still again, and then just focusing with my mind, it actually moved again. Not as obviously as it does with your hands. Not yet, anyway. I think this is a developed skill. I think the more we practice it, the better we get. So that one is definitely moving. Right now it's continuing in a counterclockwise direction. Continuing in a counterclockwise direction. So in the camera you probably can see that the tail is moving. That's probably, I suspect, the easiest way to notice this change. And probably in the camera you can see that the other one is not moving at all. It's just continuing to go in a counterclockwise direction. I'm going to pull my hands away. And really all I'm doing is just looking for change. Now it's reversing. I think it helps to be very quiet or still or almost a slightly meditative state. But you don't have to even be a deep meditator, although I think it does help. Just to get your mind more into somewhat of an alpha state, I think. That's my assumption that's what I'm doing. I'm not sure. This one seems to respond much more sensitively than the other one. The other one I've had for a while. I made this one just recently. It's much taller. It's about a third taller. The spiral is about a third longer. The silk thread is about a third longer. So it reacts pretty quickly. I don't know if there's a certain ratio that maybe I did by accident that made it work more sensitively. I didn't do anything on purpose that I'm aware of. So now I'm going to come over here to this one, which is not moving at all. Again, I'm focusing on one dot, looking for movement. What I do is I look where the two overlapping bits of spiral, or the intersections of in my vision, in my line of vision. I look for the dot behind the line, the spiral in front in my line of vision. I'm looking for the dot to show up or change or come from behind. I know I'm not describing this very well. And I'm just looking for a change. You can also look at the bottom of it. You don't yet see change. You can look at the tail and see if the tail is moving yet. Oh, yeah, now I see the tail is moving. Okay, so in this case, this one is now starting to move. The tail is actually what I'm seeing move first. Okay, now we're getting movement. This one's much more subtle, but it is moving. There it goes. So that just went about 10 degrees clockwise. It's kind of stopped. Now it's going forward again about maybe 5 degrees clockwise, and it's kind of, actually it's doing almost like a rocking motion. And while I've been focusing on this one, it looks like the other one has stopped. So you can see where I put my intention is where the movement happens. I have been able to do it with my mind, and what I want to do is to walk away, let them both stop completely, and come back and sit down. My experience has been so far it takes longer to get it to move, and I haven't yet been able to get it to move significantly, or I don't know whether I can capture it in the camera very well. But that'll be my next attempt. But now this one's moving significantly. Oh, the other one's going again. The one to my right, or the one on the left in the camera, is way more sensitive than the one, this one that I'm focusing on right here. So, PK. Very simple and really effortless. You just have to kind of let it happen. If you try too hard, I think you actually interfere, and you have to be patient. The first time you try it, nothing may happen. You just have to simply sit there and wait. And I find that when I'm tired, it doesn't work very well. Like first thing this morning when I got up, it worked really well, because I think I was rested, and it worked quickly, and it even worked quickly with just my mind. But the more tired you are, I find I can sit down here when I'm tired in the evening and not get it to do anything. So